is Jasper Ondap, Equity Analyst at Regina Capital Development Corporation. Good to see you, Jasper. Welcome back to the program.
Hello, Kathy. Good morning. Thank you for having me again.
All right, so how are you interpreting the latest rise in U.S. core CPI picking up in services, though goods services were more subdued? Does it support or weaken a Fed rate cut in the coming month?
Well, I think prices really, or the inflation print really, was really looking at the CPI, which came in at 2.7%, just 10 points lower than the target or the forecast 2.8. And just looking back at what happened just a few minutes ago, when as I've stated earlier, President Trump was already attacking Fed Chair Powell that he should already cut rates, etc., etc. But they remain data dependent. And just a few months ago, or just last month, CME Group looked at probability of a rate cut of 50%. But post jobs report of NFP coming at 73,000 really puts the Fed or the Fed rate cut more than 80%. And just a matter of fact, yesterday night when I was watching the news just before the inflation print came out, the probability of the rate cut was at 80%. And after just the release of the muted inflation coming at 2.7 really pumped up the probability to more than 90%.
Okay, given the higher probability then of 90%, what does that mean for the Bangko Sentral? The governor himself, Eli Remolona, had guided about 24 hours ago a quite likely rate cut on August 28th.
So if you just look back, when the U.S. Fed or signals a rate cut, the rest of the global economies really tends to follow this trend. And when we look at our domestic figures, we've seen GDP coming at 5.5, quite moderate. We're seeing the inflation 0.9. We see a bit muted unemployment rate. So all the data aligns, and we even see the foreign exchange coming at 56, 57 levels. All the data aligns for the BSP to actually cut rates coming later this month. And I guess that could be the next catalyst after the rebalancing, and then the rebalancing coming the next few months, the next few weeks.
All right, what's the rebalancing about, and how is that affecting trade right now? We're at 6,300 as we speak.
Yeah, so usually when rebalancing happens, the entry of plus and the exit of bloom, there should be a tendency of changes when it comes to inflows and outflows coming from all investors, funds, and other traders tend to rebalance their portfolios. That doesn't usually happens when there's a huge sell-off or buy-offs, especially for the entrants or the ones who exits the index. And similar for those other rebalancing figures, when they tend to rebalance, gaining for the highest probability or highest stock they think that will actually go up in the coming periods.
Okay, so if you were to look at what's going to be rebalanced, what should we look out for? Which ones are going to be in the new mix and which ones are out?
Yeah, so at least for the PSE index, there's tend to be really the liquidity as well as the performance, or really when the move, or let's just say the market cap, basically what rearranges the index, right? So I think the entry of plus, given its volatility in a couple of weeks, really puts out them in the index, and their liquidity having a huge more than a billion a day in volume. And considering the plus performance in the last few figures, if you look at back 3 years ago, plus is now more than 1,000, more than 100, 300%. So the entry of the plus into the index is very much already set in stone. And thus everyone is at least few months back are already looking into it.
And indeed they have been. Well, thank you so much for those insights. Jasper Ondap of Regina Capital Development Corporation.